Western Spring Television, ours it is.
All right, day-to-day authorized speech, 9 to 9 speaks of wisdom. There is no language nor creed where that voice is not heard. With these, I welcome you to today's edition of Morning Spring. This is where I will talk about critical matters in the society and, of course, issues of public importance from all the nooks and crannies of the nation as well. And the aim is to have us a better, or have for ourselves a better and a working nation that we are proud of. Good people, great nation, Nigeria. That's what we do here at this time. Femi Ojo is my name. It gives me great pleasure to have you join us today on the program. It's been one kind of a weekend, and we'll bring you up to speed very, very quickly. Once again, you're welcome. Evelyn, good morning.
Good morning, Femi.
Yeah.
How do you do today?
Great.
Good morning, people. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a new dawn, a new week, a fresh morning, and we are grateful to God for life. My name is EVELYN, OHIOLEI, and I appreciate you all of the time for adding us to your morning routine, joining us every weekday. Thank you so much.
That's right. We're very, very delighted to have you join us. Just like she said, adding us to your morning routine. What a weekend it's been. Very eventful, from sports, you know, to matters arising in the nation, governance, politics, and of course, even on the continent, especially in the West African sub-region. We heard yesterday that Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, by the way, have pulled out, withdraw from ECOWAS. Say, you know what? It's like you guys have deviated from the ideals of the founding fathers. These were their reasons. And the Pan-Africanism spirit in which ECOWAS, according to them, was founded. And they've seen that ECOWAS has not been doing that, and they've deviated. So Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, they've pulled out. So these Sahel or Sahelian countries, being currently ruled by juntas, have said, don't do. You know, they do again. Evelyn.
And of course, we saw the reaction by ECOWAS saying that they are still part of ECOWAS. So it's more like a drag. No, you're still in, and they are saying that we are out. Well, whatever it is, they still have a choice.
Yeah.
And ECOWAS holding on to them is doing what they accused them of doing, because they have the right to say, we don't want to be a part of your
Maybe there are rules
anymore.
and processes, by the way, to follow. You just don't announce in your countries, because they've done this announcement
ECOWAS said they haven't
yeah.
received any official
that's right.
letter or statement to that effect from this country. So to them,
the announcement were only made, you know, through the media
so
simultaneously in these countries
ECOWAS
to say,
is saying you're still with us because we don't have any letter or
correspondence to that effect.
Exactly, to that effect.
Yeah.
So let's just
ECOWAS is more like telling Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso they play.
Amazing. But then we our fingers are crossed at this time, because we would also like to interrogate the implications of their withdrawal from ECOWAS for them and also for ECOWAS, because some people are of the opinion that they will bear more of the brunt of this withdrawal than ECOWAS, because they have more to gain from ECOWAS than ECOWAS has to gain from them, because they are not big countries, as it were. You know, if, imagine Nigeria pulling out of ECOWAS, okay, that is big.
Yeah,
but,
that's a force.
You know, but then, no matter how small that we think these countries are, they also contribute in their own bit. Yeah, you know, that's right. To the West Africa. So let's just keep our fingers crossed.
Interesting days ahead, as you know, and it appears like they have their path carved out for themselves, because in the manner of the visit and the correspondence between these countries, these Sahelian countries, and some world powers, you know, they have a kind of a plan mapped out. You've seen them, you know, work towards being ally with Russia, and not really the American, UK kind of France thing, in which they have accused, especially France, of you guys have given us independence, but you have not, you know, put your hands off our country. You're still trying to dictate. Interesting days ahead. We'll get to look into this particular situation in the course of the week as well. And it will be unfair without talking about the brilliance of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And I'm intentionally looking at you right now. Look at me straight in the face, Evelyn, and tell me if actually the Eagles were not super at the weekend.
The thing is, we are almost out of time, so we should actually...
We are not out of time. We have all the time here.
But then Super Eagles, yes, did
at least at the last match.
I'm glad that they disappointed me, because I wasn't hoping for a win. I have to say that I wasn't hoping for a win. I didn't even watch that match, because I told a friend I would not commit 90 minutes of my life to watching such a match. But at the end of the day, I was disappointed, and I'm glad that they disappointed.
You are disappointed on one hand. You are the Nigerian is some persons are palpable.
Still talking sport, amazingly, our own very Toby Musa also won. Made a remarkable feat by winning the new African women's indoor record of 7.77 seconds in the 60 meters hurdle at the Astana indoor meet in Kazakhstan. I watched that run, and it was a good one. Toby Abuza has been doing us proud.
Amazingly well.
I'm glad that she is still blazing that trail.
She had her troubles last year, the doping thing.
But she's back.
Missing, but then she came back. Disappointing, but it's good to know that she's blazing right now. And in as much Evelyn will want to gloss off the Super Eagles, I would not let go, because it gave the, and interestingly, the god of karma visited her and our team, Equatorial Guinea. They have been dumped out.
That's one thing about
glory to God. But on this note, we can move ahead on the program. The Super Eagles will be playing Angola later in the week, and we wish them all the best as well. Yeah, that aside, we'll go on this quick break now. When we come back, we head straight to the headlines for more serious business. Please stay with us.
Welcome back. Let's go straight to taking some headlines, but we won't be doing that. We will not be doing that without Lade Jojo. I almost forgot your name because it's been a while. You went on sabbatical.
But you forgot my name, apparently. You just call me Lade Jojo.
Lade Jojo, please forgive me. I mean, that's what you get when you miss 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks?
Well,
2 weeks.
I was on another national assignment.
Really?
And, you know, Evelyn, that's what you also get when you fail to support your country of birth and you want to go the Equatorial Guinea way. But it's a pleasure to be back on the show. It's a pleasure to see you guys again. Yes, I'm back.
Your surname is Alabi. Please forgive me for that.
Okay,
all right, so let's begin with the Nigerian Tribune today. The big story on the Nigerian Tribune for this morning: ECOWAS shaky as Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso quit. With riders, their withdrawal notification not yet received. Badi says more divisions imminent. NIIA directors warn. And away from that, a USA-based lecturer accidentally shot dead in Osun. A sad one there. And again, gunmen kill 8 in Benue. That is on page 27. An Ibadan explosion. NSE geoscientists to submit report on building integrity tomorrow. And how NAS has been violating Constitution since 1999. Fails to inaugurate constitutionally approved committee 25 years after. You can check page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune for today. And still on Nigerian Tribune, Customs CG unveils strategies for meeting 2024 revenue target. And CBN's key economic projections still premature. This is according to analysts. And exports differ on Naira exchange rate floating. That big story is on page 13. And top strip committee on national minimum wage to be inaugurated on Tuesday. And on page 24, governors cannot fund state police. Uzodima says Southwest governors talking with FG on Amotekun carrying arms, says Oyebanji. Ladeji, let me take you on the big one. ECOWAS shaky has Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso quit. And we are hearing from ECOWAS that their withdrawal notification has not been made official. They haven't received it. Your thoughts?
Let me say that ECOWAS, just like many other international organizations, they are a treaty organization. You as a nation state have the power to say, we are signed to this, and you can also say, oh, we don't want to be a part of this again. And all we just need to do is just to officially notify the body of your decision to opt out. But let's look at the core of this. You know, Nigeria being a power, a major power, Nigeria to ECOWAS is just like the United States to the United Nations. You can't talk about ECOWAS and you won't talk about the importance of Nigeria in it. You know, majorly the major funder in the ECOWAS troop, major whatever. But while you guys were making your introduction, you mentioned something, ECOWAS no degree. The reality is ECOWAS doesn't have the power to say you must stay back. Yeah. And the reality is we have, you know, now Russia is now becoming the new bride of Africa. Some African countries, they are tilting towards the Vladimir Putin-led Russian government. He's also ready to give them every, you know, we have, you know, before this, what's the name of the mercenary leader that died last year? Before he died, we've seen him on the continent of Africa a couple of times. They are ready to give these guys the backups needed. And also because many of these countries, most especially the Francophone African countries, have been tied to the apron of their colonialists, the former colonialists. You know, unlike the policy of, you know, whatever that was practiced in Nigeria, the policy practiced by the French government in their, you know, in their colonies was policy of assimilation. They allowed them to take the French culture, in turn making them tied to their apron. And at a time there was a figure, I mean, there was a report that said France take out more than $500 billion every year away from Africa. So all these countries, they are opening their eyes up. Even though there are no Father Christmas in the international arena, the Russia you are rushing, you know, you are running through, would also have their own, you know, hidden motive of coming to you. But be that as it may, I think Nigeria as a leader on the West African sub-region need to learn to handle some of our international relation policies very well. How do I mean? Before we get to the stage of sanction on Niger, we should have actually gone through the stage of, you know, negotiation, you know. I thought there were negotiations, there were discussions, there were dialogues. So what we did was, we started negotiation in international peacekeeping or whatever is not a day thing. You don't say you want to negotiate and the following day you expect that, you know, a good result comes out immediately. You give it time, and if it doesn't happen, you have, you know, a couple of steps before we get to finally sanctioning whoever is in charge. But I feel these guys' mind have been made up. You know, they are some of them are young juntas, and they want to also show that they are powerful. But I feel Nigeria as a leading country, and you know, sadly, this leaves us. You know, our only neighbor that is with ECOWAS now is Benin Republic. If anything happens in Benin, that means we are surrendered by you know, military-led countries, which means also it's a bigger threat to us as a leading country in Africa, because finally, most of the Western powers that are not aligned to the thought of ECOWAS always look for a means to actually bring down the power of Nigeria on this West African sub-region.
All right, nice submission, Deji, and that will be all for Nigerian Tribune.
All right, one will want to say sometimes as Nigeria should, because you talk about Benin, if actually anything should happen in Benin, maybe it might affect whatever happens beyond the borders of any nation is always, you know, we always have this ripple effect, by the way. Okay. We still have Cameroon, by the way. They are still our neighbors, and they have not gone yet. Only that one is not even sure where Paul Biya is right now. I think the man is more bothered about regime security than any other thing that has to do with any other person. But moving on, The Guardian is my next point of call. The Guardian newspaper. Who fallout, trade, security concern as Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso exit ECOWAS. Right? So the picture of the junta leaders there with the chairman of ECOWAS, President Bola Tinubu, account for over 40 trillion naira allocations to FCT councils, Serap tells governors. We'll be talking about these very shortly now. Account for over 40 trillion naira allocations to FCT council, Serap tells governors. US-based professor shot dead in Osun after party. Mob kills gunman. There's a very sad situation there. You know, allegations and counter-allegations. And the Osun State government has given an update to that to say it will be investigated. But one thing is sure, it is a sad one. A professor has been killed. US-based for that matter. But then, petrol trading lifts NNPC's profit to $2.27 billion. Saudi Aramco declares $161 billion. NRC announces a return of Kano-Lagos train service. Beware COVID infections, fatalities still on the prowl. And, you know, the people are being warned right now. Let me take the G quickly, like 60 seconds. It was a sad situation in Osun, you know, as a US-based professor was shot dead after a party, and the mob killed the gunman. At least has been reported by The Guardian. And there has been back and forth. Who did this, who did that? The vigilantes have denied. Hunters have said he's not, you know, but somebody has died.
Well, yes, now 2 persons now, if we are going to go about the report you just read. But I feel it's, I read the news yesterday on Punch newspaper, and it brings to question how some of our security guys go about, you know, wielding firearms as if we are in a war situation. I heard of a story of someone that had a visitor, you know, from US, and, you know, from traveling down from Lagos to another state, the man was continuously asking him, what is happening? Are you guys in a war situation? Because he sees AK-47 all around. These are assault rifles that you don't just see anywhere. The highest you can see on the police around in the standard practice is a sidearm. It is only when the situation becomes difficult that you call for backup. But here in Nigeria, a 5-year-old boy knows what an AK-47 gun looks like. It is sad. It is also sad that we say we celebrate, we do something, and in just a way to show, because what I read on Punch yesterday was, okay, fire some you know, shots into the air, and maybe the guy that mistakenly fired the professor did not know he was facing somebody, not the air, and he shot somebody.
Like an accidental discharge.
It's sad, because to me, these are avoidable deaths.
Yeah.
I was speaking with a brother in the US yesterday night, and he was telling me, you know, he had the story also, so he was asking, Deji, what is happening over there? Today you hear about Benue, you heard about Abuja,
right?
And now, he said, we have a couple of people out there in the US that it seems in the Yoruba parlance that want to buy Nigeria, that they don't want to come home because this guy only came home for his celebration. He never planned that he was going to die like this, and he's gone.
It's a sad situation. The state government has said they're going to investigate, and maybe, you know, something that will just be helpful can be had. Not about the retrieving of a life that's lost, that's gone, but maybe there's a way that will have a walkable kind of a path so that these things will not be done. People will not just be brandishing either is a ding-gun or what sort rifles in a place of festival, by the way, and so that we won't get to have something like this again. It's a sad one. That's all from The Guardian.
Right, very quickly, we move to Delhi Independent newspaper for today. On Delhi Independent, experts see Naira trading at 2,000 to $1, says CBN overwhelmed. And Serap gives governors a week, 1 week to account for 40 trillion Naira LG allocations. That's on page 7. And FG vows to recover unpaid royalties, taxes in mining sector. Still on Delhi Independent newspaper this morning, MNK, international lawyer, asks UN, EU, AU, Commonwealth to expel Nigeria. That story is on page 6. That's on the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's issue. And away from that, 8.6 billion Naira procurement violation claim. Umahi threatens litigation, demands apology from group. And my promotion source of, okay, I'll take that again. My promotion source is God, declares Fubara. And we also saw in that video, you know, it is Thanksgiving speech, thanking also the president, saying that it would not be where it is now without the president, and that has actually generated a whole lot of controversy online as to what he meant. Is it talking about the, you know, Supreme Court victory? Is it talking about his victory to becoming to being elected as the governor of Rivers State, or is talking about his case with the EFCC that was quenched and nothing has been heard about it? All right, moving on. Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger leave ECOWAS bloc. And legal hurdle may scuttle Lagos government-planned airport. Analysts agree state needs to complement Murtala Mohammed Airport. Said we are not aware of any legal hurdle. Lagos government, rising insecurity, we are taking fight to criminals' dens, says federal government. And we just hope that these are not just rhetorics. And upsurge of kidnapping, Afenifere restates call for multi-level policing. Ladeji, 2,000 Naira to $1. We're presently at 1,400. What will this say? What does this say for our economy?
You asking me what does it say? You know, it is in Nigeria. You don't need to be a deep economics like, you know, the likes of Paul Alaje or what's this other man's name, or you know, the doctor, the professor from OAU. You don't need to be in their league for you to know that we are in a serious situation. And like, you know, people have been saying, let us pray. We cannot pray our way out of this if we don't set a serious precedent for ourselves. The over $700 million that the foreign airline says, whatever, you know, we said, okay, when they pay part of this money, Naira will gain. We only pay about 61 million. What does that do? We talk about, you know, making the Naira grow, but we have leaders that even on our soil spend dollars. How do we want the Naira to grow? So even we've not seen the list of the fall of Naira. I'm telling you, in reality, it is not a doomsday. It is not a prophecy of doom or whatever. But if we don't put our things on the right path, what have we been doing? We borrow more to think we want to use borrowing to, you know, sustain Naira. It is not done. What are we producing? The money we are borrowing, what are we spending on? The more we spend on frivolities, the more we borrow money to buy SUVs, the more we borrow money to buy yachts, the more we borrow money to build, you know, new National Assembly, build new residence for this politician, build this for that. EVELYN, Naira will keep falling. The more our politicians fail on our own soil to spend Naira, that they prefer to spend hard currencies, Naira will keep falling. And the ripple effect of this will tell on everybody, every one of us, every one of us. And when we talk about every one of us, including the politicians, because even the money they steal, they would not be able to spend in peace. EVELYN, that's just it.
All right, it is that situation like Ladeji said, 2,000 naira to a dollar is not looking good at all. It is really, really not good at all. And we hope that the concerned stakeholders will get to action. You know, Mr. Cardoso seems so confident in his strategies, but Nigerians are saying these strategies are not working.
EVELYN, any strategy that is not working, Nigerians want to see action. I've always said it. Nigerian politicians want you to cut them some slack. But this is more than 8 months into the administration. Yeah. For how long are we going to wait? All right. I've mentioned on this show Magufuli of Tanzania. He came to power almost at least a few months after Buhari came into power. What that guy did in a few months, Buhari did not achieve in his 8 years. And here in Nigeria, we are the ones that even make excuse for our political leaders. We are the ones that will tell, no, he just got into power. It's just barely a year plus in the power. It's just less than a year in power till they waste our lives away in 4 or 8 years, as the case may be.
All right, we hope they do not waste our lives away, but that will be all for Daily Independent.
Right, to the Vanguard right now, the Vanguard newspaper. Burkina Faso, of course, that's very common to all the papers about the withdrawal of these 3 countries from the ECOWAS region. Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger pull out of ECOWAS. Riders, we are ready for negotiated solution. ECOWAS Commission. Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger on suspension from ECOWAS presidency. Meaning you guys are even suspended, so don't even talk about withdrawing. It's a serious diplomatic meltdown. Atiku, and of course, at Dangote event, distributors award, you see some businessmen there, and of course, big guns, politically speaking. Moving on, if Tinubu misses this opportunity, Nigeria is gone. To where, you might want to ask? That's from Pa Adebanjo. And forest crisis, high import duty, depressed vehicle, order imports. Would riders, dealers lament poor sales? Bleak 2024 predicted as Naira sinks deeper, situation could get worse. Mudia Yusuf. I think our own lady has just spoken in that regard. As well, on the sporting scene, CAF picks Osimhen for random drug test. Right, interesting one. If anyone sees the performance of Victor Osimhen, sometimes you might want to say that maybe he's right to do that, but then he's excuse me, it's normal practice that CAF would just do that. But then when it looks like he's being picked on, okay, what we can only tell Osimhen is, guy, please stay clean. That's all. And the top strip, federal government inaugurates minimum wage committee tomorrow, and corrupt governance responsible for insecurity banditry in North. FEMI expresses worry over upsurge in kidnapping Southwest. Others that this particular one, corrupt governance responsible for insecurity banditry in the North, is credited to Vice President Shetima. And insecurity, we are taking fight to criminals' den. That's good. Don't wait for them. Take the fight to them. And of course, the Mr. and Mrs. as well. Very interesting. If I have time for that. I've done my best in this relationship. Go and check. And Mr. comes with this. Okay, the Mr. says, I've done my best in this relationship. Go and check. And Mrs. responds, well, let's look at the state. Accurate passes, 4%. Passes other women, okay, passes at other women, 100%. Shots on goal, 500. Shots other women, 750. Quite an interesting one, by the way. Mrs. really went sporty in that assumption. But quickly, Ladeji, we have to run now. But Pa Adebanjo is talking. And he say if Tinubu misses this opportunity, Nigeria has got a couple of riders, but headlines. Federal government inaugurates minimum wage committee tomorrow. Let's take that. The NLC has said they are giving the government a match to come up with a working solution about increment, a new minimum wage, and the federal government is inaugurating minimum wage tomorrow.
Well, that's good for the NLC.
Do you trust both parties enough to work things out without going through the strike thing?
FEMI.
Because strike is being mobbed. again now?
I've always said it, and I stand on this mountain, that NLC have lost their seriousness. How do I mean? If we were to have a serious nation or a working nation, we will have a reduction in asking for minimum wage increments every now and then. Now, let's look at it in my little knowledge of economics. EVELYN, what is the realistic salary that an average Nigerian can take today and will, make for the high inflation rate? We are not talking about any salary in the region of 200,000. But in reality, even the federal government pay more than 200,000 naira now? Private sectors, how many of them are even making money to say they want to pay 200,000 naira salary? So that's why I'm always of the opinion that NLC are not fighting for what they are meant to fight for. When you are a pressure group for crying out loud. When governments are going astray, when they are spending on unnecessary things, you are meant to voice out because it will have a ripple effect on your members. But you keep quiet when they borrow loan to buy vehicles. You keep quiet and you feel okay. When our time comes, we will take increment in salary. I can tell you for free, FEMI, let them increase salary to 200,000 naira. States that will not be able to pay will not be able to pay. Private organizations that will not be able to pay will not be able to pay, and even the ones that the federal government will pay will not take many of the NLC members.
Federal government will inaugurate the minimum wage committee tomorrow.
Let's wait and see
what being said.
Let's wait and see. In everything in Nigeria, we inaugurate committees. Let's wait and see what the committee will come up with. At least NLC have given them between now and March. And March is just, at our backyard here. Let's wait and see.
All right. We'll be waiting to see. That's all from that, and I think we have the Punch to go. EVELYN.
All right, very quickly, let's take on the Punch newspaper. On the Punch newspaper, kidnapping epidemic, tracking device shortage, hindering police probes, data according to sources, and dearth of tracking devices causes delays in investigations, arrest of abductors, say investigators, and NDLEA declares beauty queen wanted. Naps Brazil returnee. 40 trillion naira LG allocation diverted by governors. This is coming from Syrup. An Ocean Prince detained after US-based prof's murder. Naira manufacturers plan general price hike. General price hike there. And Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger yet to exit formally. This is coming from ECOWAS. And FG appoints 6 governors to minimum wage panel. IRS demands Achimogo's tax returns after lavish birthday. We heard she had a 7-day straight birthday celebration. And, the IRS, they are asking for receipt of her returns. But let's just quickly take on what the investigators saying that tracking device shortage hindering police probes. We also heard when the former minister, Issa Pantami, said that the NIN, BVN links and linkage and all of that is enough for the investigators, the security agencies to to tackle insecurity. But it seems they are not working. So this coming out to Ladiji.
FEMI, sorry, EVELYN now. The reality is, I believe Nigeria is a place where, even though there is a saying that all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than the other in Nigeria. FEMI, on this show, this morning, let's say something against the government. If they want to pick us from Abuja, they will pick us. They don't need NIN. During NSAS, the guys that led the campaign, whatever, they had their accounts blocked. But we have kidnappers that use banks. We have kidnappers that use phone, and they use call people now. So how difficult is it for us to track these phones? All these things are just excuses. Don't forget, a minister in Buhari's government, when his son was kidnapped, the minister from Oshun here, former minister of health, the professor from Malaysia, his son was kidnapped. It took less than a few days before his kidnappers were nabbed. So what I'm saying in essence is, if they really want to get serious about, tracking kidnappers, about getting the guys troubling this country, they can. The only issue we have is we find excuse for every of our failures.
They just said they want to work, but they do not have the required equipment to work.
EVELYN, so why all this noise? Don't forget also that at the time in Nigeria we budgeted money, I think about 500 million or thereabout, for CCTV in Abuja. A lot of analysts have said you just want to waste money, you just want to find chop money for some guys. Because even CCTV in itself, you cannot use it as a final nap for whatever investigation.
The CCTV project was even given. It was given. Because I remember the senator representing the FCT, that's Ritik Njime, was recently asking about she it. Was even, I mean, somebody asked her to say, where are these things? Will you be
CCTV?
So the project is there.
Femi, I was in Abuja last week. I couldn't walk so much outside the perimeter of where I was lodged because
you could have tried it.
I don't I don't have a father in this world again, and I don't want the situation where they will call you guys that let's do GoFundMe for DG.
We will just pick a very tantalizing headline for your hashtag.
So it is sad that we find ourselves in a situation like that. For me, I don't take excuse from government. You have earmarked money for all these things. As a matter of fact, for the NIN registration for all this, you made a lot of Nigerians to suffer. So if you can pick an average Nigerian, a nobody in Nigeria, quote and unquote, because they did something wrong with NIN, you can track people with BVN. Police, FPRO said one, they said they know how to get anybody they want to get.
Yeah, I said it.
But when kidnappers kidnap somebody, you are asking that the family supply you with information. No, it shows we have double standard here, and all these things are just excuses. I'm standing on that. They are just excuses. If they want to get serious, they know how to do it. Say something bad about the government, and you say they will not be or not.
It's really a very sad situation, or horrendous one, by the way, that we are in this country. You know, someone on social media, someone came to Twitter to ask can your circle of friends raise 50 million naira within the next 24 hours. And there was a comment that kidnappers are doing market survey, because why would you want to know if my friends can raise 50 million naira within 24 hours?
Sorry, EVELYN, let me just chip in. They are not doing market survey again. May we not be victim. I heard of the story of someone, I'll do this in 30 seconds, in Pape, Abuja. The kidnappers actually came to look for another person. But they didn't meet their target. And they look at the environment, we can't come for free. And they picked 10 people. And after picking those 10 people, they asked their families to bring ransom. After paying the ransom, they told the families, go and get 500,000 naira worth of recharge card and bring it to us. So it is, they don't do market survey again. No. May we not just be victim
but
of...
I think, yes, amen to that. Amen. But I think it's instructive what EVELYN is saying, that, you know, when somebody asks that kind of question, don't think it's just a cruise kind of survey.
Because some of the
somebody might just be watching
on social media.
Of course,
they
have their informants there.
Exactly.
Don't be naive.
Femi said this, that EVELYN can raise her 5 million, 5 million, and the next thing...
You become an easy target, you become an easy
and too much information.
It's too bad.
Santorini balling, Miami chilling.
That's why he didn't actually put out. He went to ball in Abuja, but he decided to just keep
you are giving on this note, even you are giving too much information.
I'm sorry about
that. Thank you, Femi. Thank you, Femi.
Thank you, Femi.
I have to put it out there that we can't raise any ransom for you. The only thing we can raise is an alarm.
We pray with you.
Well, we hope nothing of such actually happens to anyone.
It's a serious one. The trauma on the victim, the trauma on the family, and these criminals don't care. They don't care. And so that's it. As we round off, you said something about the Mr. Adejobi FPRO saying, you know, I saw that when he was telling some persons that they should keep, you know, in the kind of way we say it, keep running your mouth. We can pick you up if you actually want to. And that's why people are asking. We're asking for information again. But actually, don't forget, under the last administration, somebody spoke derogatory against the First Lady. Less than 2-3 days, it was picked up.
It's as simple as that.
So these are the issues.
So that's why I said not all animals are equal in Nigeria.
All right, that's Lade Jelabi 2024. Thank you for coming. You have returned from the sidelines to the starting squad right now.
I'm back fully, and congratulations to the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
That's right. Please make it bold. Congratulations. and the God that hears prayers to deal with praise.
We just pray they take it to
Don't
the finals.
hope anything.
I mean, after this
Let's
quarter,
take it
let
one
them
game
go to
after
the
the
semis
other.
and the
That's
finals.
right. That will be the size of this segment. Thank you, Ladeji. And have a very great day as well. We'll go on this break. When we'll come back to speak to accountability, probity as hallmark of leadership, especially our political leaders as well. To be a very interesting and engaging one. It's the Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Stay with us. All right, you're welcome back. It's the Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. And the conversation this morning, as I said before the break, is about accountability, probity, in the manner in which we do things. And that's a hallmark of good leadership in any climb. Talking about government to private businesses, even leadership at home, one must be able to account for every task that he or she undergoes, and that's why perhaps why SERAP is a social economic rights and accountability project. That's why they are calling on governors, including the governors of the 36 states in Nigeria, including the FCT minister, to account for 40 trillion naira local government allocations. They made a release, and I'll bring you up to speed with a part of the release. And that was, containing a Freedom of Information request dated 27th of January and signed by SERAP Deputy Director OHIOLEI Oluwadare. They said, we would like and will be grateful if the recommended measures are taken within 7 days of the receipt. That is in the Freedom of Information Act. But quickly, part of what is said is transparency will ensure that the allocations are not diverted into private pockets and increase public trust. And SERAP is seriously concerned that years of allegations of corruption and mismanagement of federal allocations meant for local government have contributed to widespread poverty, underdevelopment, and lack of access to public goods and services. So you have a legal responsibility to promote transparency and accountability, the actual disbursement and spending of federal allocations. Now, I'd like to just keep it short because of time. According to our information, that's according to SERAP, and that's the signed by Barrister Oluwadare, the 36 states in Nigeria and the FCT, Abuja, have collected over 40 trillion, yes, pardon me when I said billion the other time, 40 trillion in federal allocations meant for the 774 local government areas in the country and the FCT. Now, the Federal Account Allocation Committee, FAC, disbursed to state 225.21 billion federal allocations meant for local government in November 2023 alone. Now, state also collected 258.8 billion federal allocations meant for local government areas in December 2023. However, there is opacity in the actual disbursement of federal allocations to this local government in your state. State and the FCT have over the years failed and or refused to disclose the portion of federal allocations that are disbursed by the state governors. And SERAP knows that former President Buhari recently alleged that state governors routinely pocket or divert federal allocations meant for local government areas in the state. And they quoted Buhari to have said, if the money from the federal account to the state is about 100 million naira, 50 million naira will be sent to the chairman, but he will sign that he received 100 million naira. The chairman will pocket the balance and share it with whoever he wants to share it with. That is SERAP, quoting President Buhari. And we have been joined to shed more light on these and other pressing matters by SERAP Deputy Director, Barrister OHIOLEI Oluwadare. And he joins us live from Lagos this morning via Zoom. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Yes, SERAP is calling to account, state governors, the FCT minister, to account for the money they have collected so far many persons will say, okay, maybe what is the intent and the purpose of SERAPs calling state governors to come and account for all the money they have collected so far? You made a figure over 40 trillion naira. That's quite an amount, isn't it?
And yes, thank you very much. The issue borders on transparency and accountability. So naturally and by law, these details should naturally be in the public domain because the law says so. I'm referring to the Constitution, Section 39, which bars all Nigerians to have a right to freedom of expression. And freedom of expression does not only mean having conversations like this as we're doing, it also means being informed about the activities of government, which of course we know holds power on behalf of the people. And the Freedom of Information Act also compels public institutions and public officers, including state governors, their public officers in that regard, to proactively disclose and publish the use, the nature of all public funds. And in this instance, if the Accountant General of the Federation can publish on a monthly or quarterly basis the amounts that have been disbursed to the state government on behalf of the local government, it is only commonsensical, and it's a duty required by law also, that the state governors should be able to publish to how much they've actually disbursed as a local government. And it is against the backdrop, as you've stated earlier, of the various complaints that's lingered since 1999 about some of the malfeasance that is going on in the administration of local government funds at the state government level. We recall what happened recently in Ogun State to a local government chairman that had spoken out, and what has happened to him. So this is predicated on those issues, and this is simply a freedom of information request, which naturally government should respond to and provide information to the people.
All right, great one there to know that almost everyone have the right to act under the FOI. But I'd like to ask, are there proofs, verifiable ones, to show that some of these monies are being, fretted away, just mismanaged? Or, because many persons have accused SERAP to say they are just rabble-rousers. They just try to make troubles where none exist. And I'm sure you've had many persons accuse SERAP of that before. So, are there verifiable facts to show that, yes, something untoward has happened over the years, especially as you even indicated, what President Buhari said before he left office?
Yes. Without going too much into the politics, or call it the politics of these issues, what SERAP has sent is a freedom of information request, requesting for information. It is not an allegation of malfeasance.
Okay.
The issues of the allegations that have been on for a while, SERAP did not start that since 1999. It is still on. It is still going on. And the least that this FOI request can do, if we have governors that really understand the concept of democracy, is to put those allegations to rest. So it means that if they provide this information, it simply makes the allegations not true, because they would be able to show that the amount that come to us to disburse the local government has gone to them. And that is why we have two levels of information in this regard. One is the one published by the Accountant General of the Federation. We are not asking for that information. It's in the public domain already. If you go to the website of the Accountant General of the Federation, you will see those details there. Every allocation that goes from the federal allocation account, which is called FAC, to states and to states on behalf of the government is published already. What we are simply asking for are the details from each of these states that has gone to the local government. And that is very simple. This is not an allegation. And if the governors have nothing to hide, why can't they disclose such amounts? It's just very simple. We had made reference to various issues, and I've mentioned one in this regard about what had happened in Ogun State last year. The president himself has stated this in 2022. I think he was speaking at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies in Abuja on these issues of some governors. He didn't mention, I wish he had mentioned, of some governors misappropriating local government funds. So this FOI request is a good opportunity for those governors, if they believe they have nothing to hide, to simply publish details. If 10 naira has come in for the local government, it is just for the governors to provide proof that we've sent the 10 naira to the local government. It's very simple. And if they believe that, and if they are not able to do that naturally, it suggests, of course, I'm calling it a suggestion, there's some malfeasance going on, and perhaps some misappropriation going on. Perhaps these funds have ended up in private pockets, and then the FCC and the ICPC and the anti-corruption agencies can do their job in that regard. But as it stands now, we are simply asking for information that the law compels these public officers to provide to the Nigerian public.
All right, Mr. Oluwadare, I'd like to begin by interrogating the root of this malfeasance, this mismanagement, about the law actually backing the state governments to control funds meant for the local government. The Constitution provides in Section 162, subsection 5, and I'm reading in part, that each state shall maintain a specific account to be called State Joint Local Government Account, into which shall be paid all allocations to the local government councils of the state from the federation account and from government to the state. Now, are we not supposed to be clamoring for a legislative action or restructuring against this state joint local government account that clearly doesn't favor the local government, instead of this threat of litigation or litigations that do not really, some people think it doesn't really produce results?
Yes. Oh, thank you very much. What you've mentioned is, this is one of those ancillary issues that has led us to this point. But you also know that constitutional amendment is within the purview of the National Assembly. And with that, some of the National Assembly, I think the 9th and the 10th, they've undertaken, including the last National Assembly, undertaken a review of the Constitution. But they found somehow politically managed to avoid these issues, including the issue of judicial autonomy, which was granted but not really, was given with the left and was collected back with the right hand. So the issue of amending the Constitution is another matter. The issue of how those states have managed those funds is another matter. The section you cited is Section 162, subsection 6. But if you look at subsection 5, it says clearly that the monies are meant for the benefit of the local government. And when you look at the publications from the Accountant General of the Federation too, it is clear, you would see the table there. There are funds meant for the state governors in a separate column. There are funds meant for the local government in a separate column. But just because it goes to the state government, does it mean that the state government can appropriate or use those funds without giving it to those that the law said it is meant for? It is simple. It's just a simple matter of somebody sending me money through your account. And then you take those monies and you spend it. And you claim just because you have the right to receive the money on my behalf, then you can spend it anyhow. That is not true. Which is why we need to be able to separate the issues of the constitutional amendment, which I believe is long in coming, but it's yet to happen, from the issue of accountability. And like they will say in Yoruba land, if you permit me, they say in Yoruba land, so we need to address these issues of accountability first, even as we keep clamoring for constitutional amendment that will really give the local government both political and financial autonomy. But that is not a reason, none at all, for the state government to refuse to give local government what the law says is meant for them and what the federal government from FAC allocation actually sends to the local government. We all live in one local government to another in Nigeria. We see the horrible state of things in that local government. The local government system has been emasculated, they cannot even perform. And so this issue goes beyond politics. It goes beyond the various arguments of whether they should have autonomy or not, or the foot dragged by the National Assembly. It is simply to make the governors accountable the same way we should make the president accountable for the use of public funds.
So is there a reason why you are asking the state governors and the FCT minister to account from the year 1999? You know, people are wondering why from 1999?
It is simply a benchmark of this latest round of democracy. And you would also note that the issues of the autonomy, both political and fiscal, of the local government started as early as 1999, the moment we started that round of democracy. Because again, the Constitution and the way it is practiced, we practice a constitutional, we claim to practice a constitutional democracy anyway, has given, has created a system where governments are becoming too powerful than the people. Unfortunately, it is the people that is suffering from these political gimmicks between the various tiers of government. If the local government can really function, if they have these funds that have been allocated to them, I can tell you that the local government will be able to do a lot of this. And I really want to use this platform to encourage Nigerians. Go to the website of the Accountant General of the Federation. You will see the allocations made to your local government. You will see there. They run into millions of naira. The last one was to December. Millions of naira. So where are those funds?
Interesting one there. In that example that Sarah gave about what President Buhari said, in which if the money from the federal accounts of the state is about 100 million naira, 50 million will be sent to the chairman, but we sign that he received 100 million. Essentially, this is graft, this is fraud, this is malappropriation or misappropriation of fund, and it appears that the former president knew this, but then maybe bottlenecks, maybe the willingness not to do what is right are the reasons. But this is reality, because when former President Buhari said this, nobody really took him on to say this is a lie, but it appears this is a reality. And you're asking for this information from this state governments to provide, update about how they have spent over 40 trillion naira. And the example I just gave, in which you gave as well, President Buhari alluded and confirmed this, that this is the reality. Are we in a state of helplessness, Barrister Oluwadare?
It is very unfortunate, and I'm happy that we're making these deductions. You are sharing the exact way I felt when I read that piece during my research. Why would the president say this in a public gathering, in the presence of governors? He is admitting that a lot of wrongdoing is going on under his watch. He said this in December 2022, and he did nothing about it. What does that tell the average Nigerian about the system of government that we run? So where is the moral? Where is that moral justification or even legal justification to go after those who have done wrong when the president himself is admitting that he is aware that a lot of wrongdoing is going on under his watch and he does nothing about it? Is that not encouraging corruption implicitly? And that is why citizens must continue to have engagements like this, to continue to talk. This is advocacy. We should continue to talk. We should not limit our voices to every 4 years at a poll or during the off-cycle elections. We should continue to compel public institutions to do what the law says they should do. And I wish Nigerians are taking up this issue there when the president said it, to ensure that he gives and he doesn't need to even give the EFCC and ICPC instructions. Their job is clear cut already. The law mandates them to act. What they could have done simply is to investigate. And in this instance, if we ask these questions, and the governors don't respond, of course, we have a right to go to court under the Freedom of Information Act. But more importantly, shouldn't the anti-corruption agencies do their job to investigate? Nobody is saying anybody's caught people presently. At least nobody has been caught people before a court. But the least the anti-corruption agencies can do is to investigate. And if they are certain that public officers or governors are complicit, of course they should face it. They should have their day in court and face the law. And importantly, to recover any of such funds that have been found to the missing. Really, and I think Nigerians would also draw the same conclusion. If the president can say this in a public gathering and he has done nothing about it, how does it not encourage corruption? And I really don't have the answer for you. I leave that to all the Nigerians who are listening to draw their own conclusions and deductions.
All right, so Mr. Oluwadare, where is the place of the NFIU guidelines, the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit that released the guidelines, I think, last year, to stop these governors from tampering with funds meant for the LGAs? Where is the place of these guidelines? These state governors contested these guidelines in court and they lost. So one will want to think that they are following through these guidelines and the money is going to the local government. Mr. Oluwadare, are you still with us? All right, we'll try to reconnect with Mr. Oluwadare to take him more on several questions that we have here. Like Femi said earlier, it's about accountability, it's about transparency, and that is the hallmark of democracy, because this is our commonwealth. This all belongs to everybody, not just a select few. Every Nigerian is a stakeholder, and every Nigeria needs to feel the effect of good governance. So
Right.
these are the issues we should be interrogating, and these are the questions we should be asking at this time.
That exactly is what we are doing on this program this morning, to say, where does this leave us as a people? Sarah said 40 trillion, at least from 1990 now. What have you done so far? And they're asking under the very FOI Act, by the way, Freedom of Information, that gives anybody, at least a Nigerian, that access to ask public officers, how has these things been done?
Yeah.
In as much we are not asking about national security. We are not asking about things that has to do with the defense of the nation. Even that one, in as much as it has to do with some things can still be asked about, we are only saying, what have you done so far? And that is what Serap is saying. And I remember that under President Buhari said that to say, you guys, you know how you do your things. 100 million will be collected, and then 50 million will be sent to the chairman, and you have to sign that you have collected 100 million naira. And when he said 100 million will be sent, the question is, who sends it? So by logic, you think the only person that can do that is these governors. And he spoke to that, and none of the governors came up to say, no, I don't do that. But, you know, the way we do around here is any president that is there, you see this psycho fancy, especially with people that are close to him, people of his party. Everybody is saying, Oranka Dede, sir, you are doing well. And immediately, you know, the person leaves, and maybe power changes hands. Some of these people change the manner in which they talk. And these are the issues. See, Shehu Sani, you know, the ever vocal former Senator Shehu Sani, said something on his tweet and said, he spoke about Dave Umahi and said, Dave Umahi said something recently, especially when they came in, you know, he's the Minister of Works now, to say Buhari left an economy that was in ruins, you know. And Shehu Sani said, excuse me, the same Buhari that you named an airport after. So what did you see in him that made you name an airport, a very critical infrastructure, after him? And after he has left, in defense of the administration in which you are serving now, you are saying that same man that was so worthy of your adulation, of you naming something after him, left the country in rings. And it speaks to how our politicians behave and talk at times.
Actually, until we have government, I mean, the 3 tiers of government fully independent. I know we say on paper, we practice the 3 tiers of government are independent, the federal, the local, and state are independent, but then you tend to see more of the federal, the center controlling the state, and the state controlling the local government. There is no independence, and that's
sometimes even the states making themselves subservient to the federal, unnecessarily.
And that's why we do not actually have people, you know, leaders, elected leaders that can speak truth to power, knowing fully well that the same way the president was elected is the same way you were elected by the people. So you don't have to be subservient to the federal just because you want to curry some little favors. They may think it's big favors from the center.
We appreciate Mr. President for graciously, and then you wonder.
Those adjectives and adverbs. It's amazing. But these are the issues, you know, Nolgay has always spoken out to full autonomy, not only financially, politically, because if you're talking about financially, it is still the state government, governors that pick this state council chairman, and so they tell them what to do. If the governor tells you, I need so amount in from the local government account, of course it's going to get it.
We've had allegations of some local government chairman having to come to the state headquarters to come and defend what they want to use their money for. Is like, you are the chairman, so I need so amount, X amount in my local government. Then you come to the state house to come and meet your governor to say, sir, I need, you know, your back. Your hands are at your back to say, to defend. These
really are the issues, and that's why this local government chairmen are also culpable. We should also call them to question, because we have states that have duly elected local government chairmen, and also when this local government chairman gets these monies, they also pocket some. You know, they pocket some
we're
money.
told we have Barstoluadare. Can you hear us, sir? All right, it's technology can really be a challenge, actually. And these are the issues. I like to ask these questions. You know, Serap is speaking up. We're having this conversation here at Morning Spring to say, really, under this act, is it possible, because that what Serap is asking, to have an up-to-date account? What have you people done so far? And Evelyn, if actually we have these, perhaps, you know, nature will be so gracious to allow these people, you know, to come up with these things, then what do we do with information? That's another thing. If we have this information, let's assume that these informations from 1999 are provided up to date. So what do we do with it?
And we have to hold accountable every government official that has held any position in the state or probably even in the local government.
That's
they have to come account for every penny
all the FCT
that
ministers
has gone
that
into
have
their accounts.
been
Because
appointed.
this is state money, this is people's money, this is our money,
that
must be accounted for. That's another huddle
conversation.
entirely.
Okay,
you know,
let's get here firstly right.
Bring them on board to come and you know, to come and answer these questions as to the appropriation of the different funds and how it was spent. But you know what we usually have when a particular, in fact, there was a particular senator who was voted out of office. And a new senator came in, and there was a particular solar project, and people were asking, "This solar project are not, solar panels are not working anymore. We don't have light here. We don't have light there. Our streets are no longer lit. What's happening?" You know, this former senator said, "You have a new senator, ask him." And people were wondering, you
were there.
You were the one that actually executed this project. The money you brought in this project, the money was with you. So why ask us to ask this new senator? So it's the way it is, the way Nigerian
it's more like,
politicians reason.
It's more like, you guys have voted me out, you're asking me for money. Go ask somebody.
You know, I'm out, I'm no longer in the picture, so ask the person that is there.
That's
you should
right.
be able to provide an answer.
But then that's not the way it should be in normal climes, because from the person that tax guys or ticket guys gives 100 naira to pay, that person has a right to ask. And that, what have you used my 100 naira that I pay on a daily to do? From the people that buy petrol, the VAT on the petrol, every grocery that you purchase, there's a VAT on it, every item, and that accrues to these revenue that the government share among the three tiers of government. That's why we're calling to question today. We'll go on this break, and the conversation will continue afterwards.